Okay, so this video is going to be your procedure and your data table for this lab. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is we have to prepare a boiling water bath for a later step in the procedure. And then we're going to be testing 5 different chemicals. So we're going to get 5 different weigh boats and we're going to label them. And then we're going to put we don't really have to measure it that much. We just need enough to make sure that we can test them. And since we're looking at physical properties of these substances, it's important to make sure that we're recording everything that we do and that we see. So before we even start the experiment, we're going to record the color and what each substance looks like. And then we're going to test and record the volatility and odor of each solid by wafting the hand. So if I was to smell something, so say I have a chemical in here, I'm not going to go, right? Because what's going to happen is some of those chemicals will waft or have what we refer to as volatility, which means that when it's in its container, it can stay a liquid. But then when it's exposed and the temperature increases, the substance can have vapors and fumes come off of it, okay? So what you're gonna do is, in order to test this, you're gonna hold the substance here and we're gonna waft anything that may be coming out of the chemical into our nose so we can then smell it and kind of get an idea of what's happening. And then we're going to get this thing called a well plate, okay, that you'll notice that this well plate has multiple spaces in it, and those are where we're going to be doing our chemical reaction. And then we're going to take a little bit of chemical and put it into each well plate. So we're going to fill 5 well plates with our substance. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add 20 drops of water to each well, and then we're going to stir, and then we're going to make observations about whether the substance dissolves or not, right? So if the substance dissolves, that means you won't see any solid. If it doesn't dissolve, you'll see it sitting in the water. And then anything that doesn't dissolve, okay, anything that does dissolve. So all of our substances that dissolved in water, so that we call those water-soluble substances. Basically what that means is that they dissolve in water, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little electricity thing and we're gonna put it into the well plate, okay? And we're gonna see if the light goes off, because then that means that it conducts electricity, okay? Next, we're gonna label 5 test tubes and we're gonna add a small amount of each substance to the test tube. And then we're gonna add 20 drops of hexane, okay? So hexane is the opposite of water, okay? So if it didn't dissolve in water, chances are it will dissolve in hexane, okay? Hexane is a very volatile substance, so this substance will be located in the fume hood because we don't want its vapors coming into the room. And then we're gonna record. Okay, next part is we're gonna obtain a watch glass. So this is a watch glass. It looks kind of like a big contact, okay? We're gonna place a small amount of each solid to a different location of the watch glass. So I'm gonna have the watch glass and I'm gonna put a little bit of each substance around the watch glass. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the dish on top of the boiling water that we started earlier in the lab, right? And we're gonna let it heat for 1 to 2 minutes. We are going to observe whether any substances melt, right? And then we're gonna record. Next part is for solids that do not melt on the watch glass. What we're gonna do is then we're gonna heat them up directly using a Bunsen burner, okay? So we're gonna take a little bit more, add it to a clean test tube, and we're going to hold it over the Bunsen burner for 1 to 2 minutes to see if we can get it to melt with direct heat. Because when we're boiling the water, that's not direct heat, that's just heat from the water, and water only boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Bunsen burner, we can get a higher temperature to see if we can get it to melt. And then the last thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna test the brittleness by placing a small, so whether it can break up easily, we're gonna place a small amount into a mortar and pestle and we're gonna grind the solid and then we're gonna record those results. So basically we're looking at all the physical properties of the substances. So our data table needs to record all of those physical properties. So color, appearance, volatile, conductivity, solubility, solubility in hexane, brittleness, and the melting point. So whether it melted over boiling water or whether it melted over the Bunsen burner. And finally, these are going to be the 5 substances that we're going to test. So we're going to test aluminum, silicon dioxide, sodium chloride, stearic acid, and sucrose. Okay, so those are the 5 things that we're testing. And that's it for your lab prep. Thank you.